The Lion and the Little Hero. In a vast, green jungle lived a magnificent lion named Leo. He had a golden mane and a mighty roar that echoed through the trees. Leo believed he was the king of the jungle, and no one was stronger or more important than him. Not far from Leo's favorite napping spot lived a tiny, quick mouse named Pip. Pip was so small he could hide under a single leaf. He often watched Leo from a distance, admiring his strength, but also noticing how Leo rarely paid attention to the smaller creatures. One sunny afternoon, Pip was scurrying along a path when he accidentally ran right over Leo's paw. Leo stirred, a low growl rumbling in his chest. Pip froze, expecting a mighty roar, but Leo simply yawned, stretched, and went back to sleep, not even bothering to open his eyes. Pip was surprised. He thought Leo would be angry. Perhaps, he thought, even the biggest hearts can hold a little kindness. From that day on, Pip felt a small warmth towards the great lion. Days turned into weeks. One morning, the jungle was filled with a terrible sound, a distressed roar. It was Leo. He had wandered into a part of the jungle he didn't know well and had become trapped in a strong hunter's net. Leo pulled and tugged with all his might, but the ropes were too strong. He roared again, louder this time, hoping someone would hear and help. But all the other animals were too scared to come near the trapped king. Suddenly, Pip appeared. He had heard Leo's roars and remembered the lion's small act of kindness. "Don't worry, King Leo," squeaked Pip, his tiny voice barely audible. "I will help you." Leo looked down at the tiny mouse. "How can you help me, little Pip?" He sighed, feeling a little hopeless. But Pip didn't hesitate. He began to gnaw at the thickest rope with his sharp, strong teeth. It took a long time and Pip's jaws grew tired, but he kept going. Slowly but surely, strand by strand, the rope began to fray. Finally, with a snap, it broke. Then another, and another, until Leo was free. Leo looked at Pip with gratitude in his eyes. "Thank you, little friend," he rumbled softly. "You taught me that even the smallest among us can be the biggest heroes, and kindness always comes back to you." From that day on, Leo and Pip were the best of friends, and Leo always remembered to be kind to every creature, no matter how small. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. In a charming little village, nestled beside rolling green hills, lived a shepherd boy named Ethan. His job was to look after the village's fluffy white sheep. Ethan often felt bored sitting alone all day. He wished something exciting would happen. One day, Ethan had a mischievous idea. He took a deep breath and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is coming!" Hearing his cries, the villagers quickly ran up the hill, carrying sticks and hoes to help. When they arrived, they found Ethan giggling. "There's no wolf," he said. "I was just playing a trick." A few days later, Ethan felt bored again. He decided to play the trick one more time. "Wolf! Wolf! Help me!" he shouted. This time, fewer villagers ran to help. They were still worried, but also a little suspicious. And once again, Ethan laughed. "I was just joking again," he said. The villagers shook their heads and said, "We can't trust this boy anymore." Then one afternoon, a real wolf appeared. It crept out of the forest and started chasing the sheep. "Wolf! Wolf! There really is a wolf!" Ethan screamed with all his might. But no one came. The villagers heard Ethan's cries, but they thought he was playing a trick again. The sheep scattered, and the wolf caught a few before running away. Ethan learned an important lesson that day. Lying might be fun for a moment, but it makes others not trust you when you tell the truth. From then on, Ethan always told the truth. And when Ethan truly needed help, the villagers were always there to support him. The Tortoise and the Hare. In a sunny meadow lived a tortoise named Terence. He wasn't fast, but he was always steady, taking one careful step after another. Also in the meadow lived Barnaby, a speedy hare. Barnaby loved to show off how fast he could run, zipping and zooming everywhere. One day, Barnaby saw Terence taking his time. "Why are you so slow?" Barnaby chuckled. "I could run around the whole meadow before you even reach the next flower." Terence looked up calmly. "Perhaps," he said, "but how about a race to the big oak tree at the end of the meadow? We'll see who gets there first." Barnaby laughed even louder. And so, the race began. Barnaby shot off like a rocket, leaving Terence far behind in a puff of dust. Terence just started walking, one steady step at a time. Barnaby ran so far ahead that he couldn't even see Terence anymore. "He's so slow," Barnaby thought. "I have plenty of time for a nap." He curled up under a big, shady tree and quickly fell asleep. Meanwhile, Terence kept walking. He didn't stop, he didn't rush, he just kept putting one foot in front of the other. Soon he reached the big, shady tree. Terence saw Barnaby sleeping soundly. He didn't wake him, but just kept going, past the tree and closer to the finish line. After a long nap, Barnaby woke up with a stretch and a yawn. He looked around, and to his surprise, Terence was nowhere in sight. "Oh no," he cried. Barnaby started running as fast as he could, faster than ever before. He zoomed past the trees and over the hills, hoping to catch up. But it was too late. As Barnaby rounded the last bend, he saw Terence, slow and steady, crossing the finish line right by the big oak tree. Terence had won. Barnaby learned that day that being fast isn't always enough. Sometimes being slow and steady and never giving up is the best way to win the race.